Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France, and the good old boys from Canada. We love you in Canada, but Big C, you know we love them in Africa, the Big C tribe, but there's still no one we love more than you good old boys down south in the land of the free, in the home of the brave, on a beautiful May 22nd, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, I just have to say Wakanda forever, okay?
Yes.
It's raining down here, and we get rain forever. But it's also the first day in voting in the midterms, and it's the day that people need to start getting out.
Yeah.
Get your friends together, get your family, and even if it's 2 or 3 people in the neighborhood that you don't like, give them a ride to the voting booth.
Yeah.
At least let them vote, because people say it don't matter. It doesn't matter if you doesn't go.
Yeah.
But if you go, it does matter. Whichever way you vote, at least let them count your vote.
Amen to that. And we all know that we're in a land of the free and the home of the brave. If you don't vote, then what's the point of benefit? It's like being invited to a Big C slumber party. If you ain't got the shine, then if you don't sip the shine, why even have it around, Big C? You spend a lot of time perfecting it, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, what I found out about the shine, it could be the most vibranium mosquito repellent there is out there. Because if you ever been to the pool party and you rub a little bit on, you don't need no sunblock. You don't need no mosquito repellent, Charlton.
No.
It does everything. If you got a sore joint,
yes,
put it on there. That joint relaxes, Charlton.
Amen. I tell you, there's a thing where Nick Saban, he does this invite for all the football players that he recruits to Alabama to help make them rich, and they don't get paid. They all get baptized in this big lake behind his crib, and I don't know, they go swimming for free, but they also don't get paid any money. But he makes $11 million a year, so that's all good. We know football's coming up. We have a lot of stuff happening in the world of the NBA universe. A lot of good old boys from Las Vegas been blowing up my phone. I said, man, I'm glad I got the unlimited texting, Big C, because I can't keep getting all these messages coming in and say, Curry, you want to put some money on this? No, I'm not betting them, Big C. We know we have baseball in full swing, but it's still not relevant. We do have some good stuff happening in the world of hockey because we love Canada so much. I think the Capitals are just, they seem destined to meet up with Las Vegas. And could you imagine, Big C, the Capitals in Vegas, with bringing Vegas into Washington, D.C., or bringing Washington, D.C. into Vegas, according to Trump, it's all a big gamble. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at so many of his backers from the major casinos in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Matter of fact, even when they opened up the new American embassy in Jerusalem, one of the top casino owners was there in Jerusalem during this time. So, this would be a natural. But I wonder if he would attend the hockey game, Charlton.
I doubt it. Yeah.
Well, there's so many people that are non-American at those hockey games, so he might get a little confused and ask for his ISIS people to show up and interject some thought into it, Charlton. But when you look at the Washington Capitals, they're not going away easy. Last night they forced the game 7, with the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yes.
And so now, we got one more game before Lord Stanley Cup pucks drop.
Yeah.
And, the Capitals, here's a team, Charlton, that had a 2-0 lead.
Yes.
And ended up down 3-2. But they had some fertility last night. They shut out the Lightning, Charlton, in a must-win situation.
Yes.
And now they're going to force a game 7. Which is going to give Las Vegas an advantage, I do believe, Charlton, because whoever they face, whether it's the Capital or the Lightning, they're going to have to skate a couple extra games while the Golden Knights are resting and basking in the sunshine of Las Vegas.
Yeah, and I tell you, with that sunshine, and this is what I love about the sports business. I love so much about it because we talk about things that are relevant, right? And why do we even have 7 games? The NFL It's one and done. You won a playoff game. There's no 7 games. You only got next year. They don't give you a chance to come back and get it done. But I know it's a different breed of cat. But the reason we have 7 games in almost every sport is because there's a thing called the bet line. And people want to say, how are they paying so much money to these teams? And how are they paying so much money to these players? And it ties in again with the Supreme Court. I know there are people who just say, just give me the score, who couldn't care less. It affects everything. Imagine what it cost to go to a game 20 years ago, Big C, compared to now. Somebody got to pay off the bookies, Big C. Everything you said, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you talk about just give me the score, that's what the Supreme Court did. Just give me the score. People are really worried about what the score is now, Charlton, after this decision from the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have people sitting around not paying attention to the game, Charlton.
No.
But paying attention to the line. That's where all the interest is going to be. It's going to be amazing a year from now, Charlton, when you're watching a game on television.
Yep.
And if they pan to the stands, Charlton, the eyes are not going to be looking at the court. They're going to be looking up at the monitors, Charlton.
Yeah.
The jumbotrons. Because they're going to have the scores up from all the games, Charlton, and maybe having some live action bet lines up on these screens, Charlton.
Yeah.
So how attentive will the fans in the arenas be now? The one thing that worries me the most, Charlton, with this new move by the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
You know, we heard all this cry last year that the NFL attendance was down. And it was down because of those SOB athletes that the president talked about.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Taking a stance, you know, for social injustice.
Yeah.
He said that drove down the attendance because it bothered the people that didn't believe that there was social injustice in America and that everything was fine.
Exactly.
And these black people were just,
complaining.
Making up things.
Complaining, yeah.
And so what I'm looking at now, Charlton, why would it be so important now if the arenas are not playing that sports network, Major League Baseball, the NBA, or the NFL?
Yeah.
If they're not playing the network up on the Jumbotron and you're betting, you're going to be you want to be in a place, Charlton, where you can constantly make bets. I understand that the smartphone is there, but it's easy to do it on a desktop or a laptop.
Yeah.
And so as this, I think, will affect attendance over time in the professional sports because people are going to be so interested in making their bets and not being distracted.
Yeah. Well, think about something. Because Big C Sports is cutting-edge technology. Not only are we bringing you Google, we're bringing you the world of streaming TV as we launch television in the summer of 2018. Well, for the good old boys, the NBA, they've already started experimenting with virtual reality. Now, not everybody has a 4K TV that they can get from any appliance store and go out and put it on their wall. Not everybody has all the technology to do that. But I'll tell you something, for the young generation, you want to know how the leagues are going to make this jump, this quantum leap in billions of dollars? Every kid has something in their phone. It used to be like a notepad or a pencil. Now it's called a cell phone, Big C. So the NBA and the NFL will be doing it too. They're already experimenting with this virtual reality. It lets you appear as if you're sitting courtside at the game. Now you say, okay, well, why is that important? I just told you, everybody cannot afford those 10K TVs that Big C has a plethora of. I have no idea why you need so many TVs.
I have friends in the trucking business. Okay. And every now and then, say they truck on out of Dixon. And they need somebody to bring them a selection. And, you do an exchange. They may not have cash, but they do have goods periodically.
Yeah.
So if we do an exchange, I'm going to bring them this free diesel. They're just going to say, hey, I got a gift for you. I don't ask what the gift is. Well, it's just everybody's happy.
That's true. Well, watch what they're doing right under our noses, and people are paying attention to, is Iguodala going to not play a game because he got a cut fingernail that scratched his leg? He still played after he banged knees with a heart, and they're still wondering, was he going to play? Is he not going to play? Well, the NBA is experimenting with virtual reality, which allows you to appear as if you're in the game. Also, for the companies that advertise on that virtual reality, as you have those goggles on, because who doesn't want a courtside seat, Big C? Well, I'm sure whatever advertiser is on there is going to give you the point spread. They're going to give you inside information. They're going to make it a reason for you to sit your butt in that lazy boy chair and watch 3 or 4 hours of sports. Big C, that make any sense?
Well, Charlton, it does. I mean, everybody is putting in touch with situations.
Yeah.
You know, there was a reason why the Supreme Court felt that they needed to do this.
You think?
Well, you know, if you look at the stock market of how it's gone,
yes,
and a lot of things that have been deregulated in this new term in the White House, Charlton, and you look at the appointee on the Supreme Court by this new administration, he was the swing vote, Charlton.
Yeah.
In this rule being abolished, that gambling could only be done in Vegas.
Yep.
So you have to look at how things are laid out, how this will affect things over time. When this administration leaves, Charlton, the Pandora box that is opened up.
Yeah.
As far as people you owe money. Think about this. There's people that you owe money. The Supreme Court justice that you appointed was a swing vote.
Yep.
And it's being passed. I don't know if media, mainstream, sports, or even just news thinks about that. Is that when we look at this investigation of this presidency that's going on right now as far as collusion,
yeah,
financial involvement, ties to various things.
Yeah.
Look at this vote. Look who he appointed. Look how it affects overall America.
Yeah.
You know, they talked about financial crisis in America.
Yep.
You know, when they did this tax break, you think about $820 billion was going to the richest people in America.
Yep.
And corporations from this tax break. So all of you people who got $1,000 back, think about those who are sharing $820 billion.
Yeah.
From this tax break.
Yeah.
So you got a tremendous break from the presidency.
Yeah.
But also think about how this gambling is going to affect America. I know every time we see a commercial on television about Las Vegas and they said, bet wisely. If you feel that you have a problem, call this number, this 800 number.
Yeah.
So once you lose an entire week of income,
yes,
because now you don't have to travel to bet it, you can bet it at home or that whole month of income.
Yeah. Trying
to chase and make up that week that you left. Who are you going to call? You're going to call your realtor, your mortgage company, your power company. Say, look, I have a little problem. I don't have any money. I mean, this is reality, Charles.
I know it is.
This is going to hurt a lot of people. And I always tell friends, Vegas doesn't keep their lights on by giving away money.
I thought they got all the solar stuff. It's not solar. You mean it takes money to keep that power bill going, Big C?
Even before the solar panel came on, Joe. But you think about what this does to a lot of people. The lottery has put a lot of people in peril in America financially.
Yep.
You know, playing these numbers every day. And you think about it, they got some lotteries that you can play 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And people are playing them all the time. Not just the Powerball and the Mega, they're paying all these numbers that go on.
Yeah.
And they live at these machines, Chelsea. So, but you think about now that you're going to have, and you talk about the virtual reality. This is what betting has just became, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Virtual reality. It's there. How do you walk away from it when you have that betting mechanism in your hand? You have it at your home.
Yeah.
It's everywhere now. That is the reason why gaming had been regulated to certain institutions for decades. It was in Nevada. It was in New Jersey. It was in Connecticut. There's a lot of Indian casinos that have opened up across the country.
They sure have.
But even those were regulated in certain areas. Now, when it's deregulation and you can bet from your living room, Charlton,
yep,
there's going to be a lot of people in 2 years in America that don't have a living room to bet from.
Well, you think about that statement, too, and it's almost like you got to know when you're being hunted. You got to know when you're being preyed upon. You got to clear the fog. And we talk about a lot of clearing the fog in the land of vibranium. Everybody understands that it's something that people don't always see, but you see it. And when you have the average person, and you watch it tonight, because I love this sport, and I know that ice cream's bad for you, but every now and then I got to get some of that mocha almond fudge. I haven't tried it with moonshine poured on top, but would that enhance the taste of my mocha almond moonshine fudge, Big C? Your thoughts?
You might have to call it a shake at that point, Charlie.
Okay. Well, they can get that at one of your restaurants, Big C. The mocha almond moonshine shake with Big C restaurant, okay? But think about this, too, and you just touched on it. And I love, our show is mostly catered to everybody. I mean, we even cater to the womb. If you come out of the womb, they don't play Beethoven, play Big C Sports so that baby can grow up intelligent, Big C. If you are a young kid and parents think, oh, you know, this virtual reality, this is great for TV and I'm going to sit down and watch the game. But your kids have cell phones too, and they watch games all the time on their hand, the palm of their hand. In fact, right now, if you're following Big C Sports, where's your cell phone? It's probably within about 3 feet of you. Big C, I know some good old boys tried to put their cell phone in the shower and it sorted out. Even though they thought it was waterproof, they should say water resistant. But the thing is, with this virtual reality, who would not want to watch a game courtside, especially when you don't have to drop a few $1,000s like the ticket price in Golden State tonight? You might drop a few $100s and get that virtual reality thing, and you download the app and it's like you're at the game. And every app is going to have some advertisement on there telling your kids to play the numbers. It's going to be telling, and all it's going to say, you got to be over 18. Well, sometimes kids get credit cards. They're not over 18. I mean, it just seems like giving a kid a key to the candy store with no adult supervision, because we know adults can't help themselves. But now every kid has these virtual reality sets anyway. So how do we stop the abuse that's going to happen when people think they can become a millionaire by listening to the guy from Las Vegas that shows up on his headset? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you spoke about it, credit cards. Think about the kids that will be applying for credit cards and even dipping off their parents' credit cards. You never know if they may be in a neighbor's mail box, taking the mail and reading the number off of the mail slip that came in from a bill.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But, you know, I do think this is going to create a problem. I mean, it's great for those who are responsible. But those that are not responsible, how can you teach responsibility when you're chasing all the time? And that's what's going to happen, is that you're chasing. It's not going to be set up for just the weekend, Charlton. It's a 7-day-a-week event now.
Yeah.
Every sporting event that's on the book in Vegas now, Charlton, will be on the web for you to vote on.
Yeah.
You're going to be voting on ice hockey. You're going to be voting on lacrosse. You're going to be betting on auto racing, horse racing, everything that's there, Charlton.
Yeah.
And I worry about those that can least afford to lose.
Yeah.
Those that are living on that margin, saying, you know, if I can hit this one game, then I'm going to be okay. It'll help me out for next month.
Yes.
But when they don't hit that game, Charlton, and they don't double up their income, they lose their income, what peril is that going to put them in? I mean, they always talk about Gambler Anonymous.
Yeah.
You have to understand, it's just like in telemarketing, and I think the pyramid scheme is what everybody would recognize the most.
Yeah.
When you have these pyramid marketing schemes, when people say, well, you invest this, you get 3 or 4 or 5 friends to invest, and you're going to make money off of them. So you're going to quadruple or 10 times your money,
yes,
you know, in a month. And people are like, wow, I'm going to do that. All I got to do is put in $1,000. I get 5 of my friends to invest. I'm going to double my money.
Yep.
They get 5 of their friends to invest each. I'm going to quadruple my money, and it's going to keep going. And that's what you think when you're betting. I think that any adult who has been to Vegas, and I got to get rid of my VIP cards or something. You know,
yeah.
But you go sit down at the table.
Yes.
They have free drinks in Vegas.
Yep.
They also got free drinks at home. So,
yeah.
It may not come with a cocktail waitress at home.
Yeah.
But you can have bottle service at home.
Yeah.
And so if you're sitting there and you're enjoying yourself, you're relaxing. Say you bet on a game and you win. Okay, I'm ahead.
Yes.
Let me double up. All of a sudden you lose.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, now how do I get that double up money back that I lost? Now you got to keep betting, Charlton.
Yeah.
And I mean, sports is wonderful. You know, it's done marvelous for my life, Charlton. It's worked wonders for me over the decades. It allowed me to expand and to get to where I am in life.
Yeah.
It's allowed me to get an education, Jonathan. It's allowed me to be in business. It allowed me to help others.
Yeah.
But the thing that I worry the most about, Charlton, is that you also have to look at this thing from a layman perspective. How many things are offered to you that are supposed to be free that benefit you, Charlton, in society?
Yeah.
If things are so beneficial for you, Charlton, why are they giving it away free? They're giving you a free opportunity to gamble now.
Yeah.
A free opportunity. Only thing it costs you is your money.
Well, that's a very good point. And I want every parent, you're not going to hear this on any other sports program. They're just going to tell you, hey, can you believe how good this guy is, how many points he scores in the game, and can you believe how far he hit that home run? Man, this is the fastest guy I've ever seen play the game. But if you parents that want to keep your kids safe, we talk about Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, but your kids matter. When you're a college kid, as soon as you go to college, you're going to have these credit card companies in the mail sending your 18-year-old kid that just went off to college and solicitation for a credit card, okay? It's going to be your major banks, you know, the ones that say they're responsible, and they're going to try to get your kids to open up a credit card when they don't have a job to pay the bill, and you don't know if your kids are going to do it or not, and when they start doing it, it's going to ruin their credit. But you know what you really got to look out for? When you don't pay the credit card bill, yeah, they'll ruin your credit, but they don't send Bubba looking for you. And for all the people who think that, oh, this is okay, we're going to have fun betting, when Bubba comes looking for your 18-year-old kid in college, because your 18-year-old kid thought that he or she is going to make $1 million listening to Bubba, and ends up putting up some money that they don't have the money to cover, and now Bubba comes looking for them, and Bubba wants his money. He don't care about your kid's credit. Big C, what advice do you give to parents that are so naive that they're going to buy these virtual reality headsets so their kids can also get solicited because they don't know they're being preyed on? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think you fall into that trap of, well, I want my child to have things. You know, I want them to have more than what I had. But what you spoke about in the first part of that, Charlton, is the credit card companies. That is the most fearful part because, hey, you got zero interest for 12 months of the first year.
Yeah.
18 months, some of these situations. And so a lot of people may not understand credit and finance. They say zero interest. They don't say you don't have to make a payment back.
Yeah.
And so some people may think that, well, if I go out and I spend this money, well, I don't have any interest for a year, they may think that they don't have any payment.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they max out these cards. And they're in trouble. And a lot of parents live on a margin, sending a kid to school. They don't have the funds to be paying that off.
No.
So, I mean, what's going to be at stake here, Charlton, in so much of America?
Bubba?
But I appreciate the opportunity that they give Americans the freedom to choose.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't want to give everybody that option.
No.
Because, like I said, they have cocktail waitresses in Vegas.
Yes.
You get bottle service at home.
Yep.
And you've been sitting there and you think you got it figured out. All of a sudden you push the wrong button. And that wrong button cost you more than what you expected because you've been dealing with that bottle service at home.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You thought you might have made a $10 bet. You might be making a $1,000 bet.
Yeah.
So these are the things that you have to be cautious of. And even with the kids, Charlton, that's the one that's even more prevalent. How do you control what they bet?
You can't.
As you said about these credit cards, a lot of kids are sneaking into their parents' accounts and got their credit card numbers and things like that. You know, I don't know if they're going to put an age limit like you have in Nevada, that you got to be 21 to go into a facility and bet. At home, we don't see where they've put an age limit on betting.
Are they going to do
that? You got to be 21 to consume alcohol.
Yeah.
At home, I don't know if there's an age limit.
No.
So if you got some kids getting together, we've seen what has occurred at a lot of fraternities.
Yeah.
Around the United States with hazing.
Yep.
Forcing, new chapter members to drink excessively.
Yeah.
So I'm just concerned in many ways, Charlton, about the gambling. I think it's a great opportunity for some people who know what they're doing, but I think it's entrapment for those who are not warned properly.
I think that's a very good point, and it's something that I really want to bring up, that I think if you just look at what's happening with the opioid crisis, you can't even go into a drugstore or even like a CVS or a Walgreens and get medicines without it being behind the counter. And oftentimes they put it even behind a plexiglass where you go to pick up some cough medicine, and certain medicines that they have certain ingredients in them, you gotta ask the pharmacist, and they ask you for your ID. They ask you, for some proof that you are who you say you are. That's just for some cough syrup. They don't come after you. They don't send Bubba looking for you because you didn't pay your cough syrup bill. And one of the things that I've learned, and I know that you've seen a lot of this too, and I know we're all happy about this new virtual reality thing, but I'm telling you something, Big C, and I just love speaking the truth. You can Google everything we say, and I hope that every other sports show would say Google what they say, because even sometimes the people paying their sponsorship don't want you to Google it. They say, don't tell them Google it, but Google this. Turner Sports is in partnership with the NBA and Intel. You think they're doing it for free? Who does Intel, what they produce? Those processors on your computers and on your phones and on these VRs. You think they're doing that for free? You think the NBA says to the Intel how we can pay you off? I mean, for some people, I know you want to be just watching the game, and so watch the game on some other channel. But this is for people who have kids. And when your kids come to you and say, Mom, Dad, can you loan me $20? That's fine. But Mom, Dad, can you loan me $20,000 because Bubba's looking for me? Well, who is Bubba? I don't know. He's this guy that showed up looking for me because I made a mistake. I did something wrong, and I bet some money that I didn't have. And now Bubba's looking for me. You think the NBA or Intel or these pro sports leagues are going to say, let me call the NBA, they'll pay the bill? Do you think that's going to happen, Big C? Your thoughts?
Charlton, it's going to happen in many kind of ways. I think parents' finances will be affected even more because you're going to be held responsible for a minor. If that child is under 18, Charlton, you're going to be held responsible as a parent.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you get some collection agency calling you because of money that's owed.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that the Supreme Court put the best thought into this, Charlton, opening up Pandora's box. But I say
who's the Supreme Court?
Reason why this was passed
yep.
because of our current administration in the White House.
He said he's going to make them some money, didn't he?
When you look at the people that were owed, this is a way to ease your debt.
Yep.
To erase your debt.
Yep.
Give us an opportunity to run roughshod on American public.
Yep.
And like I said, this is what happened. This is why gaming had been regulated to just a few states, Charlton, for decades.
Yeah.
It's because they didn't want to make it accessible to those who really could not afford it. To fly out to the desert from some place in the country.
Yes.
Not only just to fly out there, Charlton, then you got to pay for a hotel room. A lot of costs were going into it. And so it took away from having the money to game with.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to pay for an air ticket. You don't have to pay for a hotel room.
Nope.
You just gamble at home. And there's not going to be somebody say, hey, you've had too much to drink. We're going to cut you off.
No.
You don't have any credit line or things like that. When you overdraft your credit card, they'll hit you with an overdraft fee.
Yep.
But you're overdrafted. You don't have the money to make the minimum payment now because you've been losing.
Yep.
So I'm concerned about America. I know we're a sports show, but sports is finances also.
Of course it is.
And also human feelings and what matters to human beings. This is something that a lot of people are going to have to come to grips on real quickly because when you go to Nevada, Charlton,
yeah,
and this is one of the ugly things that we see across America too often.
Yes.
There's a huge homeless population. And these were people that at once had a job, or even when they showed up there,
yep,
they were not destitute. But because they couldn't get out of town because they had spent everything they had, they became destitute.
Yeah.
And so this is what my concerns are with a lot of America. We love sports. Sports has been great. It's been galvanizing. It's provided great livings for many thousands of people in America and around the world, Charlton.
Yeah.
But my major concern is now is that how much will it cost many thousands of Americans, Charlton, in our country.
I think that's a very salient point, and I want to make a little contrast. Former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, they're doing some work with Netflix, and they're doing a real good cause, and you can go to Netflix and Google what President Obama and Michelle Obama are doing with Netflix. It's all about how to help people. I contrast something that you just said. People say sports and politics don't mix, really. And you look at Jeff Sessions, Donald Trump's friend, right? And how they made it legal to bring betting into your kids' living rooms or into the headsets that they're going to beg you for Christmas. Well, while we were sleeping and watching March Madness, which is $1 billion industry, Big C, would you believe that, and again, I love sports, but I say be intelligent, don't be ignorant. But Turner Sports is betting on this technology taking off, not just in North America, but all around the world, and therefore all around the universe. And they're not doing it because they like you. They also ran this virtual reality in the NCAA Men's Final Four. It was available on virtual reality. And now viewers can find the NBA games through the TNT app and the VR app. So I know people are just naive and we want to numb down, and some people say, just give me the score. Well, when Bubba starts calling you because of something your kids did not know, is that you got to pay them, and they don't send you to collections. That's the seedy side of what I just worry about. Some kids that have already, we have these Alcoholic Anonymous courses you could take, and Gamblers Anonymous courses you can take. Now they're going to have this Bettors Anonymous courses you can take, and I hate seeing young kids being preyed upon by these lions that run Las Vegas. And these lions, when they come out to hunt, Big C, they come out to hunt in a nice suit and tie. There's a good old boy that we saw the movie Pulp Fiction. One of the best movies I saw about what happens when you owe somebody money. Sam Jackson, Bruce Willis, Harvey Keitel, John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Ben Rames, who I think is one of the best actors in the history of the universe, in Ben Rames. But when Sam Jackson was in that restaurant and that good old boy came through and he robbed everybody in the restaurant. It looked like your restaurant down south, Big C, but I didn't see any shine dispensers down. Maybe they had them backstage. But it looked like one of Big C's restaurants, okay? But when Sam Jackson said, look in that bag and get my wallet, and he said, well, which one is it? He said, it's the one that says, bad mother, shut your mouth. I'm talking about Shaft, okay? I can't say what Sam Jackson said in the movie. But it was about somebody not taking a fall when he told Bruce Willis, you go down in the 4th round, and he didn't do it. You notice they didn't send him to a collection agency. They sent the wolf in, and they sent some good old boys to find him. And I just wonder if these young kids don't know when they're being preyed upon. But if you're a parent, it's great having technology, but how can you be responsible when you're not there, when they're calling Bubba because they're going to be a millionaire, taking that bet that Bubba's going to advertise on that VR screen? Big C, one more time, your thoughts on that.
Well, Charlton, I'm not just limited to the kids. I'm limited to the adults in these situations. You think about how many parents think that they're knowledgeable, that they got it figured out. That, you might be in these little betting pools at work. You think about how many betting squares you buy at work on the weekend and during the playoffs and during the Super Bowl, even, NBA and NHL playoffs and finals.
Yeah.
They all have these little betting pools at work. Now you don't have to worry about buying squares. You can just place your bet.
Wow.
And so that's a big concern right there. How many of these people now are going to void the squares and go right into the bet as adults? You think about relationships that hinge on finances, Charlton.
Yes.
When people are, tight financially. What type of strain is this going to put on families in America? We've always talked about domestic violence, and finances will lead to a lot of domestic violence.
Yeah.
In America, it honestly will. That you're questioning somebody, that you're challenging somebody, that I know what I'm doing. I'm a man. You can't tell me if this is my money. You can't tell me how to spend it.
Wow.
Those are concerns that I have. We look at the Super Bowl over the years. There's been a lot of domestic violence calls during that game.
Especially
during that game. You can Google that.
Yeah.
You can Google that because people get highly upset because so many bets are made on that game. That one game, Charlton, it is the #1 domestic violence day in America.
It sure is.
It's the greatest television spectacle, and that is the reason why. Because the intensity that's put forth towards that one game, whether you're in a betting pool at work, in the neighborhood, or just Uncle Billy down the street.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But that tension is there. So think about that tension now, Charlton, that can manifest daily, weekly, monthly, because you're on a losing streak.
Yeah.
And your finances are tight.
That's a very good point.
This is what concerns me, Charlton.
Yeah.
Is that how much domestic violence will this create now in broken families?
You know, I reminded, just by you making that statement, Big C, I reminded when I worked in production with Fox Sports and ABC Sports and CBS and NBC, and we had these big production trucks. They're about 50, 60 feet long. They sit behind the stadium, and they have the great crews that bring everything to you. They have the play-by-play guys in the press box. But in every production truck, they have all of these TV monitors. And these TV monitors let you watch everything that's happening in the world of sports, especially in that sport that you're covering. And now you can do that at home, and you can have a bet behind it. I think that's just kind of dangerous for a lot of young people. I do want to say that sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. And for every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer leagues, when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you at 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Final thing I'll bring up before we touch on something else, because I think it's so important. There's two things. I recall when Wells Fargo Bank, and don't think the banks are behind this, okay? Wells Fargo Bank was investigated by the attorney generals for setting up, I think, over 2 million fake accounts, because banks have what's called factoring. When you put in $100, they can loan out $1,000. When you put in $1,000, they can loan out $10,000. When you put in $10,000, they can loan out $100,000. That's why they want your money in the bank. They can get more money for your money, okay? You can't do it, but they can. So when they created those 2 million fake accounts, and you can still go into those banks today. They weren't shut down. Okay, they paid some so-called fine, supposedly, allegedly. But they're using, I think about this Me Too movement to keep women safe and saying no more, and we appreciate that. Oprah had a great speech, and she got a rousing ovation. And Janet Jackson just had a speech at the Billboard Award, and she got a rousing ovation. They're putting women on TV, and you can Google the networks that do it, to advertise for this VR, this virtual reality thing, where people can get these headsets for all their kids now. But you know the advertising is going to be placed on those VR sets. And you just brought up this point that Super Bowl Sunday, this is for women who were abused, okay? And even if you have a woman in your family that you care about, mother, daughter, grandparent, or friend, if you know that's the biggest day of abuse, and now they're using women to soften up the audience to promote this VR betting thing that's coming, and the Supreme Court made it legal to bet, well, some of these women are going to be advocating for these guys that hurt women to use these VRs to gamble. It's almost like sending the baby in front of the lion and saying, hey, baby, feed the lion these big steaks. Well, you don't do that if you're conscious. It's done when you're unconscious. Big C, the Me Too movement, don't just be about stop hitting women. Be about don't let women be the bait for these lions, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, like I said, I fear the scenario because of what the Super Bowl brings. It's the heaviest betting day in America. That creates frustration and tension, okay?
Yeah.
So if we're having frustration and tension every day with these live betting events across America, Charlton, that's going to create a plethora of problems.
Yes.
And I love sports. I love to have women around watching sports, Charlton.
Yes.
I love it when they're knowledgeable about sports, Charlton. But they can't stop a bad bet.
Nope.
That's the thing about it, because the guy will always go, I know what I'm doing.
Yep.
Why are you agitating me? Why are you bothering me? She's not going to be the one affecting the score that he didn't get right, okay?
No.
She just happens to be there. And she's like, honey, we got a problem. No, we don't have a problem. You're going to have various scenarios occur, Charlton.
Yep.
That's creating a lot of fear and thought in my mind what's going to be the end product. Because I know what the Super Bowl does as far as being the biggest betting day of the year in America.
Yeah.
And the most violent day of the year in America as far as spousal abuse.
Yep.
And so now that the Supreme Court and our nation's capital has opened this up to become an everyday virtual reality in America.
Yeah.
And I hope that people sit back and take a look at themselves and say, okay, am I man enough to control this?
Yeah.
And think about those who have already committed the violence behind sporting events, Charlton, against women. They're still out there.
Yep.
And now they have an opportunity to bet every day.
Well, you know,
they made bad bets during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now that they got an opportunity to make a bad bet every month, every week.
Yeah.
How is that going to fare with them?
That's a good point, Big C. And I tell you, Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe that will say there's no tolerance for domestic violence, no abuse toward women or men. We're the only show to do that. Other people might do it once a month. But I just want to make sure everybody stays safe. You know, when we talk about that, the NCAA, before we get into some NBA, the NCAA passed a rule that you cannot have more than 20 coaches on your team with headsets on, in the booth and on the sidelines. Now, we just finished telling you something, that they were experimenting with this stuff for March Madness. You know, what they call it, March Madness is where dreams come true. And what did Teddy Pendergrass sing? One shining moment. Okay, he's saying better than me. I'm not even trying to compete with Teddy Pendergrass. But there's a song by Peabo Bryson, and I want you to pay attention when you're watching any kind of game, whether it's NCAA or the games this weekend with the NBA. Peabo Bryson saying, whenever you're in my arms again, and he says, I'm going to hold you forever. You can dance to that, Big C. I know I can feel you try to get your groove on when I broke out the Peabo Bryson on you. But when you think about, when he says, I will hold you forever, relating that to basketball and these coaches with the headsets, and the government saying it's legal to bet, is holding a foul that's going to get someone out of a game. Is holding mean you're going to turn the ball over? Hey, hold on to the ball better. That's what coaches say. When Peabo Bryson's saying, this time I'll hold you forever. Well, how does that relate to betting? Because everybody's set up to, anyone can be had, and I don't like it. I know we want to say, man, just watch the game, but I don't like it, and I think it's happening. It's so blatant now that Trump's in the White House, and people think it's sports, but it's the Supreme Court, his friends, that made this happen. Big C, your thoughts?
Politics took over sports, Charlton.
I thought sports and politics didn't mix, Big C. That's what some of the mainstream stations say. That's what they've been saying, Big C.
Politics took the number one position in sports. It now controls America. Politics does. In sports, when you open it up for everybody, Charlton, because you didn't put an age limit on it. That's the problem. You didn't put a gender limit on it, Charlton. It's an uncapped scenario. It's what it is.
Yep.
There's nothing on there saying you have to be 18 years old to place a bet. That wasn't put out there by the Supreme Court.
No.
It didn't put out there. You think about guys that are incarcerated that have access to things. They could be placing bets.
Sure can.
You think about it. We have people that are incarcerated now, Chuck, that can make bets.
Sure can.
And so there's no limitation. You know, you think about, we talked about the officials, easy to get to. You think about, those are the ones who control more than anything. Then what's going to be the limitation on what can be bet on, Charlton? When will Vegas start putting high school games, or even this new unregulated betting, when will they put high school games on?
Well,
and the high school games have gotten so big now, you think about There's networks that broadcast high school basketball, football now.
They sure do.
So when will it get out there on the betting circle, Charlton? It will.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have a little bit of everything out there to bet on.
Yes.
And so high school kids, think about it. You know, and I know there was a situation in Dallas, Texas years ago with Carter High School.
Yeah.
Where they had several players that were going
That's
around
right.
committing robberies because they wanted things. It was the top high school team in the country.
That's right.
But these players wanted even more. So they started robbing stores and restaurants. And so they were caught because they wanted to have the things that the affluent kids had.
Yep.
Well, so now if the high school games are being bet on, and there's some great high school athletes around the country. That's the feeder system for the colleges.
Yep.
And even some directly into the pros.
Yeah.
How can you tell a high school kid that we've always talked about college kids not getting an income from the billions of dollars that they make for the NCAA and the institution?
Yeah.
What's going to happen when they start putting high school games out there, which they will, Charlton? And you got a high school kid that's living in an impoverished or destitute situation in a home that they don't have the funds to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And he's a top athlete. Say, we just need you to do this. Here's $5,000 for the family. Here's $10,000 for the family.
Yep.
You know, how do you regulate that, Charlton? You know, they can't regulate college athletes yet.
No.
And a lot of them get paid. How are you going to regulate the even lower tier when it gets down to high school betting? And I guarantee you the high school betting will be out there.
Wow.
But the college betting, Charlton,
Yes.
will be off the charts now.
Well,
Because you have too many college players that can affect the game in many ways. Think about a kicker. All of a sudden, you know, he's been ironclad.
yeah.
He misses his first 2 field goals of the season.
Yeah.
What was the point spread on the game?
Yeah.
3.5? Wow. You know, you got a quarterback. He's been completing 70% of his passes on the season. All of a sudden, he got a game he only completed 52%.
Yeah.
You got a running back who's averaging, 150 yards a game, hasn't fumbled all season.
Nope.
Puts it on the ground once or twice.
Yep.
Doesn't get 100 yards. Team loses. There's so many subtleties out there, Charlton, where things can happen. In college basketball, all of a sudden, he doesn't miss free throws.
No.
He's only 3 for 7 from the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you sit here and look at this, what can be done when I'm in some podunk town, and like I said, I'll go back to University of Washington and Arizona State back in the late 90s.
Yes.
Where 2 kids walked into Vegas on a meaningless game late in the season, made it second to the last game of the season, laid down $250,000
Yep.
on the game, raised a lot of eyebrows. Like, whoa, wait a minute. Why is so much money being bet on this game?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they find out that a couple of players weren't going to play.
Yep.
But these bettors knew about it prior to the casino knew.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when all this is done online now, Chelsea?
Well, Big C, that's a very good point. And for the people that say sports and politics don't mix, since Trump's been in office, it don't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican. You can Google what I'm going to tell you. We've had so many school shootings all over this great country, and we all mourn them. But you believe we've been talking about gun control for a long time, especially since Trump's been in office. Would you believe there's no gun control, but they passed legalized sports betting? Google that. Big C, I want to touch on some NBA because we know NBA action is fantastic. And if you think about all of the basketball that we've seen over the years, I thought King James was the best player in the NBA when they talk about who's the MVP. He's not only the best player in the NBA, he's the best player in the universe in LeBron James. I don't say it just because he scores a lot of points. I don't say it just because he's a guy that you can really count on. Like, if you ever get in trouble, who can you really count on? And if you look at the NBA, LeBron James, you can count on this guy. But you look at what he's done. Most 40-point games in playoffs when trailing in a series. You have Wilt Chamberlain 5 times. You have Jerry West 5 times. You have the great Michael Jordan 5 times. You have Russell Westbrook 7 times. Well, this guy that eats vibranium for lunch is named LeBron James. He's done it 9 times. Big C, if he's not the MVP, then just take the award and then, you put it, what do you put the moonshine in and when it's not right? But you guys toss it out, Big C. What do you do when it doesn't taste quite right, Big C? Your thoughts?
Charleston, you grin and bear it, but I mean, when you look at LeBron, what he has done since joining the NBA 15 short seasons ago, Charleston.
Yeah.
And he was a grown man when he joined the league.
Oh, yeah.
But he's even grown up even more since being in the league. This is his time of the year. And you think about, when was the last time he missed the playoffs?
Wow.
It's been a long, long time, Charleston. But his productivity in the playoffs is what's the most impressive thing of his entire career. I mean, we've seen the greatness throughout the seasons with him, but he elevates that greatness, Charlton, when it comes to playoff time.
Yeah.
That you become the king of kings. Is that everyone knows who you are and everyone's heartbeat waits on your next dribble.
Oh, yeah.
And when you can instill your will on an imposing team, Chelsea, that's what he does. We look at this series now that they have with Boston, and everyone says, well, and we all thought it, that Boston, being up 2-0, had them on the ropes. Now this series is even.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people forget Boston won the East last year.
Yep.
Okay? So this is not uncharted territory for them. But just like with the Toronto Raptors, they're sitting here looking, said, we were in the same position last year with Cleveland.
Yeah.
Is that all of a sudden we were up, then we were even, and potentially we can be down.
Yeah.
But think about this, Charlton. If you're the Boston Celtics, you may even have a player on your own team that does not want you to win the championship. Think about that. You got Kyrie Irving that does not really want Boston to win without him in the lineup against Cleveland. And I don't care if people might say, well, that's a crazy thought. No, that's a factual thought.
Wow.
Because here it is, he was brought there to help beat Cleveland.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been there to help the team in the past couple of months. And they've advanced without him to the level that they are.
Yeah.
And, just like I talked a week or so ago, I said if they were to make it to the championship, what would be the need to have Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward on the roster with those huge contracts?
A lot of money.
You got a great young base. And even if you don't make it to the finals, I'm looking at trading both of those players because the nucleus that I have right now as the Boston Celtics in the playoffs that have made this run to Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final, I don't think you can improve it by bringing one of those players into the lineup because they have such cohesiveness right now.
Yeah.
Whether or not they make the finals. But when you got LeBron James on your team, Charlton, there is so much that he can do, that he intimidates other players, Charlton, that he takes them off of their game. I understand he's the greatest bowler in the NBA, but I haven't seen anybody that has altered the NBA like this since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
You think about, he is the most noticeable person in the history of basketball because he had a shot that nobody could block. I don't care whether it was Wilt Chamberlain, whether it was Shaq, whether it was Hakeem Olajuwon, Walt Bellamy,
yeah.
Bob Lanier, whoever, Bill Walton, you name them. They could not stop the Skyhook.
Yeah.
The Skyhook.
The Skyhook, yeah.
Not only that, Charlton, he had the dunk eliminated from high school and college basketball.
Yeah.
Because of him.
Yeah.
So when you talk about players who have altered, manifested, made the game great, the greatest of all time, you can talk Jordan, you can talk James, but none of them have done what Kareem has done. Although what LeBron has done is in the neighborhood of what Kareem has done.
Yeah.
You can't measure everything on championships. You have to measure it on what they have given to the world of that sport.
Well, you think about it, Big C, as we swing across to the Western Conference, the Golden State, the land of vibranium, and I talked about Peabo Bryson. If you're in my arms again, this time I will hold you forever. Well, Andre Iguodala being ruled out of Game 4, I think when Iguodala was guarding whoever he was guarding, I think they were like one basket against him. Not only is he a great defender, this guy is great going to the basket with the ball. He can shoot three-point baskets. He's great on defense at getting blocks, at getting steals. He's also good at disrupting your play. I mean, you can't screen him off because he's too big to fight through the screen on him. But him being out of Game 4, it reminds me when Draymond Green was suspended by the NBA against LeBron James in the Cavaliers and he missed a game. Wasn't kicked out of the game he was in when I think he actually made a mistake and he hit LeBron James in the vibranium, Big C, from what a lot of good old boys call the vibranium. But with Iggy being out, I know that Steph Curry came back and started playing great in the first game back at Golden State. But Iguodala being out of this game tonight, how many times have you heard of a player missing a game because he got bumped? And he was still playing the game when he got bumped. But your thoughts on what that might mean for them good old boys and what they say, what happens if Vegas stays in Vegas? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, if you look at Game 3, there was some concerns that David West wouldn't be able to play, which he did not. But players stepped up. One of the greatest things about the Golden State roster, Charlton, that it's full of a bunch of unselfish current and former All-Stars.
Yeah.
Iguodala was an All-Star player when he was in the Eastern Conference with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He was willing to take a lesser role in going to Golden State because he understood that to prolong his career, that he couldn't be the guy night after night taking the pounding.
Yeah.
But he could be the guy night after night that came in to add some relief. And so that's what has made him such a great player, is that he had been to the pinnacle as an individual.
Yeah.
But he was able to bring that knowledge to this young team and help it mature. Him being out of the lineup, I don't know if that's enough to give Houston an advantage, because Golden State comes at you in so many directions, Charlton. When you look at their bench, they're playing 10 players right now.
Yeah.
And I look at Livingston. Livingston is just a dynamic a player as Iguodala.
He's amazing.
When you look at the points that he can score, and maybe he's a better offensive player than Iguodala, but we know that he can lock you down defensively, Charlton. He's a former #1 draft pick of the Clippers years ago in the NBA.
Yeah.
So he's not a slouch. And we've seen, matter of fact, he was, an outstanding player a couple of years ago in the playoffs where he came in and led the Warriors in scoring for a couple games.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who can get it done. We've seen, the guys that have come in, the new Warriors that they've added this year.
Yeah.
That have stepped up, and there hasn't been any drop-off. You think about this last game, Charlton, when you win by 41 points.
Yes.
And you look at the even scoring that was going around, and especially the bench production that they had. This is a team that when you're out there, you're not trying to be the weak link in the chain.
No.
So if Iguodala doesn't play, Charlton, I don't really think that it will hurt this team, because you can go 5 deep into your bench and have productivity.
Well, I tell you what, Big C, in the last minute, Steph Curry, he's back. I think his mother washed his mouth out with soap. I think she even used that vibranium soap. The Currys know where to find the vibranium, Big C. But your thoughts on Curry and Durant and Thompson against Paul and Harden and Capella, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is a game that he has to continue playing the way that he did in the last game, Charlton. He was able to get his shot off. And shooters, when you look at it, you have to shoot yourself out of a slump.
Yeah.
Just like in baseball, you have to keep swinging to get yourself out of a slump. And people were concerned about Steph Curry not making shots. And that concerns any coach and any fan.
Yeah.
But if he was concerned, Charlton, he would have stopped shooting. But the greatest part about Steph's game is that he goes to the bench, and he has a coaching staff that's very knowledgeable in Mike Brown and Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
To talk him through the points of what he's not seeing on the floor. Not only that, his teammates are noticing things. They all pay attention. You go back during the regular season when Steve Kerr gave his players an opportunity to coach during the game.
That's right.
And people said, well, that was disrespectful to players in the NBA.
Yeah.
Well, if something is disrespectful, don't give the head coach an opportunity to let the players coach because you're that far behind.
Play defense.
Okay?
Yeah.
But you're getting paid. Play some defense.
Yeah.
Then the coach will be coaching. But he felt there wasn't no need for him to inject. But what that does, Charlton, for this time of the year, is that those players get a chance to notice even more.
Yes.
About what their teammates are not executing properly, whether they're on the floor or whether they're on the sidelines in a timeout.
Yes.
That's what helps, and that's probably what really helped Steph Curry in Game 3 is that he had so many eyes paying attention to his game.
Yes.
And what he needed to do. And if you saw it, he got to the basket. That just wasn't Steph Curry because he's a shooter.
Yeah.
His teammates and coaches said, you got to get to the 10.
Yep.
Once he got to the 10, he broke down the defense.
Yeah.
What was the defensive player thinking? I got to take an extra step back.
Yeah.
Now he's rising up on the 3.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's all fair, the land of the free and the home of the brave. We've talked about the NBA. We talked about this virtual reality and the sports betting at the pro level and the college level. They're not doing it for free. But as that bookie from Las Vegas keeps calling me, and he keeps telling me who to put my money on, always playing in the background is California Love. I think that was Tupac and them good old boys back in the day. Big C, back in the day. There was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young man rumble, Big C. What are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, I'm looking for the virtual reality of Game 7 between the Lightning and the Capitals. An opportunity to get to the Stanley Cup versus the Las Vegas Golden Knights. This is a game, Charlton, that really we need the Washington Capitals to win far as from a hockey perspective. We need a team up in the Northeast, Northwest, wherever. It's on the border of Canada, Charlton.
Yeah.
They can keep that interest. You think about it. If you have 2 warm weather states, Charlton, playing in the Stanley Cup, that doesn't feel like hockey.
No.
Florida and Nevada?
No. I tell you what. Well, we love Florida and we love Nevada, but we love every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. You can follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911 because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.